Welcome to I'm Your Target Demographic, and today we are asking the collective, which is a group of podcasters and YouTube personalities, what their favorite, maybe not well-known comic book is so that you can check them out. So this is going to be full of recommendations of indie titles, maybe Marvel and DC stuff you haven't read. So we're going to give you suggestions and things to read into, and I'm going to include some pictures here so you can see if the art is maybe your style. So I'm going to kick us off today, and I'm going to suggest a series that I fell in love with about a year ago and I got all caught up. It's incredible, and it's called Postal. Postal is, I've done an entire video on Postal, but in a nutshell, Postal is about a city called Eden, where basically people can live off the grid after they've become like a felon, a criminal. So this whole town is populated by criminals except for one person who is the mailman of the city. His name is Mark, and he is kind of our protagonist. We follow Mark as he tries to discover some people were killed, and he's trying to figure out who. So in a town full of criminals and murderers, who did it? So it's really interesting. It really puts a spin on what we think of as good guy and bad guy, because in a world full of bad guys, that definition changes a little bit. The art is gorgeous. It's incredibly witty. It is a little violent, so if you've got kind of not the stomach for it, maybe know that going in, but otherwise this is a great run. It's relatively short. You can just pick up, a handful of trades and you'll be all caught up. So it's very manageable, easy, but yet complicated, deep, nuanced. That's my recommendation for this week is Postal, that all of you should be reading. Let's see what everyone else has to say.
I'm Ray from Into the Night, a Moon Knight podcast. I'm one of the High Priests of Khonshu. I've been asked, what is a comic book series that you feel is relatively unknown and people should check out? It can be mainstream, indie, webcomic, etc. Okay, so look, I mainly collect Marvel and Valiant comics. So I'll steer away from them, and something that has really impressed me lately has been the Dynamite Entertainment publications of actually old Valiant comic characters. So they have something called the Sovereigns, and it involves characters like Turok the Dinosaur Hunter, Magnus the Robot Fighter, Solar, Man of the Atom, and Dr. Spectre. And all of them, except for Dr. Spectre, I have been a big fan of back in the days when they were at Valiant. And anyway, from a recommendation from a podcast, I picked up the Sovereigns, which are available in trade at the moment. And they're just really tight, exciting stories about these characters. And these characters are really well fleshed out. So I can definitely recommend Dynamite Entertainment and those 4 titles. Just quickly as well, I cannot not say this. I would highly recommend Spencer and Locke, which has come out, I think, from the Active Lab publishers. But anyway, it's one trade, and there's Spencer and Locke Part 2 coming out sometime this year. Fantastic. It's kind of like what if Calvin and Hobbes grew up and the little boy grew up to be a detective. Really cool. Being a Moon Knight fan, I can see some similarities. This guy, Spencer, is, I guess, slightly mentally dubious. So there are similarities with Moon Knight there, so maybe that's why I like it, but highly recommend it. Fantastic art. Go check it out.
Hi, this is Conor McKenna from Sons of the Dragon, the Immortal Iron Fist podcast. So I think these aren't exactly unknown, but I think people should definitely check out Iron Fist, especially the latest run with Ed Brisson and Mike Perkins. Definitely check out Hellboy as well, because I always want to talk about Hellboy. Start from the start, by the way. I always want to talk about Hellboy with people, and no one else reads it but me. So, yeah, please read Hellboy as well. Hellboy and Iron Fist. Iron Fist needs more love. His things keep getting cancelled even though they're awesome. People need to give him a chance. So read Iron Fist and Hellboy.
Hey everyone, this is Phil from the Capes and Lunatics podcast. A comic book series that I don't know if it's relatively unknown, but I was just reading it recently. It was only 10 issues. It was 5-issue first season, and a 5-issue second season was Renato Jones, written and drawn by Kari Andrews. It's a great series. I recommend it to anyone listening to this. Check it out, especially if you love superheroes. It's like kind of in the Punisher vein, the Batman vein, because it deals with Renato Jones, of course, who goes out at night as the masked freelancer and goes out and hunts and stalks and most of the time kills the corrupt 1% to basically terrorize and make life miserable for people in this country. Like I said, if you love the violence, it's a pretty interesting series. Not for kids, but all you adults, check it out.
What is a comic book series that you feel is relatively unknown and people should check out? It can be mainstream, indie, webcomic, esque.
Okay.
I'm the Sean Mariner.
All right. I am the Sean Mariner from the NAMOR podcast. Okay. Let me see this question.
Yeah, I should have just printed you out one.
All right. So this asks, what is one that's relatively unknown?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really read much current stuff.
Right.
So I'm only going to go with stuff that I care about.
Okay.
I care about Berserk.
Mm.
Everybody should read Berserk.
Yeah.
It's a manga.
So I think that's relatively unknown.
I don't know. That thing's been going on for years.
Right, but I mean, like, there's a lot of people that don't know manga.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I read every comic book, but I don't know. I mean, I know it because of you, and
right.
you, like, would not stop about it.
Yeah. I cannot. Will not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
go watch
trained.
Berserk unless you're underage. Then don't look
so
at Berserk
it is a show,
at all.
Also?
Yeah, there's a movie.
Okay.
There's a movie that's from it, too. That, and then I also, growing up, I liked the comic book from Image called Wetworks.
Oh, yeah.
But only like the first part of the series. And then at one point...
So just the wet part?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then after that, because of Namor.
Right. Yeah. I can't believe Namor isn't the answer.
Well...
I think he's relatively unknown. Everyone we ask is like, well, the Namor.
Right. And we're like, you're idiots.
Yeah, but we only ask our parents. So.
That's true. They keep spanking us.
It's weird. I like when your mom spanks me.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
She gives out a good spank.
That is true. She's got those big hands.
Yep. I always ask her,
look like such good,
hey,
strong
Mom,
hands.
Can you crank out another spank for me?
So, your mom, Wetworks, and...
Yeah, Berserk. Dr. Imperious Joe.
That's me. I'm Dr. Imperious Joe.
From the NAMOR podcast.
From the NAMOR podcast. Find us on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook.
Yeah, or don't. Doesn't matter. Yeah.
My favorite comic book series that I feel is relatively unknown and people should check out.
Yes.
Anything Namor.
Okay.
Actually, no. These old ones are garbage.
The old ones
maybe don't check
suck.
out anything Namor. But you can listen to our podcast to find out what we do recommend Namor-wise. Mm-hmm. Really, a lot of stuff from Image, I think. I'm a real Marblehead, but Image kills it in the just shorter, compressed stories. Monstrous, great, beautiful art, good story. For better stories, Postal is amazing. And Outcast, another really good one. Yeah. But really, like anything from Image right now.
And I totally remember you talking about all of these.
Yeah.
But I'll never read them.
Yeah, I'm sure you won't.
Because I can't read.
Yeah. Oh, even there's one that's going to be a TV show called Deadly Class. That was a good one. Kill or Be Killed is another really good one. There's so many. Really just anything from Image.
All of these sound really violent.
They are. But then there's like I Hate Fairyland. That's a good one. Or Invincible.
Yeah.
But that's pretty known.
Yeah.
Or The Walking Dead. They have this like small one called The Walking Dead. It's pretty good.
No.
It's about zombies.
Okay, hi, you're on Signal Doom with Dave and Stu. Stu, what's a comic book series that you feel is relatively unknown and people should check out?
Relatively unknown series, but the author and writer you've heard of, Scotty Young, writing and drawing for Rocket Raccoon. It's a new title, Rocket Raccoon. It's so funny, so fast-paced. Lesson book. Like, people don't read Rocket.
Sure.
People read Guardians, but no one reads Rocket.
Okay, so that's your one.
I'd give that a go. How about you, Dave?
For me, very simply, I've been born to answer this question. The Invisibles by Grant Morrison. I think it's an under-acknowledged absolute classic of the genre. I put it up there with the Sandmans. I think it's a fantastic series. It's Grant Morrison absolutely at the peak of his powers in the late 90s and the early 2000s. That's the one I'd love to see.
And there you have it, our suggestions for this week. So comics that you should go out and check out. Hopefully you got a good idea if these were up your alley or not. Hopefully you appreciated these. And now, down in the comments, I want you to give your recommendations. What books are people not reading? What do people need to go out and check out? What is being ignored? Let me know, and we'll see you next week for another Q&A with the collective.